There are two reasons why I've never bought a Smartcube. One, they're really expensive, and two, they cost a lot of money. But I finally decided to gather the dollar bills and invested in the GAN 12 unemployment insurance.
That's not what it stands for.
Oh, that's not what it stands for. That would make a lot more sense. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the GAN 12 UI Freeplay edition with the PowerPod version 2. Now, GAN also gave me a bunch of cool merchandise when I bought this, so we're going to be checking out all of that as well. First, we have a GAN Cube Stand, so let's go ahead and open this up and see what is inside. Not so surprisingly, the only thing in here is just a cube stand. It has this very nice transparent design with a bunch of tiny geometric patterns, and I guess it'd be kind of nice to find a random cube and just put it on here. There's not much else to say about this one. I also got this really nice wristband with some Chinese on it that I cannot read, so I doubt I'll ever be wearing this. But let's go ahead and open this up anyway. It says GAN Cube here, and it also has a bottle. Now for this one, I think I'll just be throwing it on a shelf somewhere and hoping it doesn't disappear randomly one day. Next, we have two sets of 2023 Lunar New Year stickers. Now these things are actually really cool. So I believe they have the standard Rubik's Cube 6 colors, but they have some really nice Lunar New Year designs on them as well. Now, I'm not going to open these today because I don't want them to get lost, but if you do want to see another review on these where I actually put them on some cubes, leave a like on this video. Finally, we have some GAN Lube, so let's go ahead and open this one up. Now, I'm pretty excited for this one because a while ago, I made a kind of decent video on a GAN Lube unboxing, and that happens to be one of my most popular videos, now at around 25,000 views, I think, which isn't a lot, but it's still a lot for this small channel. So this is GAN's newest version of their lubes, and now it comes in three versions. We have the GAN Lube 1, 2, and 3. GAN Lube 1 is for maintenance, which they say is essentially something that you can compare to Martian. You just put in your cube and it becomes more smooth. GAN Lube 2 is a cell, which means that it makes your cube faster. This is probably more comparable to something like Stardust or Lunar. And GAN Lube 3 is for mastery, as they call it, but essentially what it does is it slows down your cube a little bit, and I guess this is more comparable to something like Nebula. They also gave me this nice little postcard, which again, I don't really know what it's for, but maybe someone can tell me down below in the comment section. Next up, we have the GAN 12 UI Smart Mat, and now I'm pretty sure this mat isn't smart. It's actually the GAN 12 UI that's smart, but there was a description somewhere online and I thought the mat had something special, but no, this is just a standard stack mat, mat. And on here we have all of the descriptions on the GAN 12 UI. So all of the labels for the components. We have the GAN core, we have the GES, the GMS, all of the piece clips, and some of the auto aligning and magnet features. So this mat is super cool, and it also comes with some stack mat connection dots. So if you have some of those connectors, you can just stick them right in there, and a stack mat should clip right on. I have a G5 right here. I think they actually have some slightly different connectors so they don't align as well, but if you have a G4 or I guess a GAN timer, then they will fit correctly. Now let's get into what you are all probably here for, the GAN 12 UI Freeplay. But before we get into the unboxing, I'd like to kind of talk about the importance of this cube. Before this cube, smart cubes were all on a scale of really smart or really a speed cube. And what I mean by that is you have some really great smart cubes like the GAN iCarry or the GAN i3, and you also have some really good speed cubes like the GAN 11, 12, 13, MoU Warm, and all of that. But you've never had a good balance between the two, which means it's both smart as well as a good speed cube. But the GAN 12 UI changes all of that. I've heard from a ton of reviews that this cube is the perfect balance between speed and smart. It has all of the features from the GAN i3 and I think the GAN iCarry as well, so I am super excited for this release. Now let's get into the unboxing. First, let's go ahead and remove the plastic wrapping. style of this cube box is very reminiscent of the GAN 12 standard cube box, but you can also see some minor differences, such as the fact that it says GAN 12 UI everywhere instead of GAN 12. But other than that, it's pretty similar, especially when it comes to the color. Also, the top image is different, but that's pretty obvious. Now let's go ahead and open this thing up. Pretty classic GAN lid opening. We have the Smartcube on the left side and the accessory box on the right side. Let's go ahead and remove the cube as well as the PowerPod V2 first. Now let's take a look at the accessories. In here, we first have a USB-A to USB-C cable. I believe this is for charging the PowerPod. Next up, we also have the black colored GAN bag, which is kind of unique as most GAN bags are usually blue. I think they made this one special because it's a Smartcube. Next, we also have some AirPods Pros or AirPods Gen 3s. If we go ahead and open this up, it's just the triangular magnetic rods used for adjusting the GMS system, as well as the blue GES adjustment tool. I'm not going to go into this too much in this video, but if you want, check out some GAN 12 reviews if you want to see how to use these tools. Finally, we also have some adjustment pamphlets and just usage pamphlets in general. This one's for the PowerPod, this one's for the GAN 12 itself. I believe this one is for how to solve a 3x3, but if you're buying a $120 cube, I don't think you're actually gonna need this tutorial. Finally, we also have this really nice AI Cube Station card, along with the Smartcube badge. After a tad bit of instruction reading, I think it's finally time to go ahead and open up the PowerPod. The instructions, it says to make sure to open with your hand on the side to prevent damage. I think we should first remove this sticker. Basically, all this one says is don't swap the centerpieces, otherwise it will not work, which makes sense. All right, we have the PowerPod open, and let's take the cube out. With the PowerPod itself, we have the 4 charging spikes that connect to the cube. We also have the main button on the front, which serves many purposes depending on what you're trying to do. As for the lid, it's a pretty standard just click on lid. On the bottom, we also have a phone stand. So if you go ahead and kind of just pull this one out, it'll just act as a place to put your phone when you are cubing with the Cube Station app. Just go ahead and pop it right back in when you're done. That's about it for the PowerPod. Now with the cube, I think I'll talk about more of the just SPEEDCUBE side of it first, and then we can get into all of the Smartcube shenanigans. When it comes to first appearances, it's a pretty standard GAN Smartcube. You can tell with the 4 little dots here used to connect to the GAN robot. Now, it might be kind of obvious, but it is also UV coated, which means it has this really nice feel to it, and it also helps with grip a little bit. But I'm not saying that with too much confidence, because if you want to see how I actually feel about UV coating, check out that video up there. Now let's get on to first turns. Okay, I think I turned the cube on. You can see it kind of flashing in there, but I'll just ignore that for now. Wow, this is super fast out of the box. I've never actually had a GAN 12, so I don't know if this is supposed to be this fast, but this definitely feels like it has already been set up. Maybe that's just the way it is. I love this feel so far. Overall, this is a super fast cube, and I dare even say it might be a little bit faster than the GAN 13 out of the box. Overall, it turns just like a GAN cube, maybe a little bit more resistance on the turning side. You can sort of hear a little bit of, it's hard to describe. It's almost like you're turning a motor, but I know that the sensors in here are disconnected, which means that the sensor top is not actually touching the sensor bottom. So I think that might be kind of a placebo effect going on. And it's not very obvious either. It's just a little bit on the sound. Now I think it's time to test out the Smartcube side of this. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it and I'll be right back. I think it's gonna take a little bit of manual reading because I've never actually owned a GAN Smartcube before, but I hope it should be a relatively simple process. I've been able to connect a GAN 12 to my MacBook through a Mac Catalyst app on Cube Station, and essentially what that means is it's running a Cube Station iPad app on Mac. But it works super well. The Bluetooth and gyroscope are super accurate. And the only thing that I can say that doesn't work as well as I'd like are the M moves. Whenever I do an M move, it sometimes thinks I'm doing 2 of these moves, and then it's adjusting gyroscope back. So it's kind of like lagging a little bit when I do the M moves, but it's not that big of a deal. When I was solving, I was getting around sub 11 to sub 10 times, and that's slightly faster than my average, but that's just because I don't have to start and stop to stack mat anymore, and it's super convenient to use, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'll probably make a tutorial on how to connect to Cube Station and how to use the app later, but it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy to use. When it comes to charging, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is pop the cube into the Cube Station or the Cube dock, and just make sure that the logo side is on top. Clicking it into place and pressing a button, it will start charging. I think the fact that you have to press the button is a little bit tedious, but I don't know if they can fix that through firmware or it's baked into the dock itself. And in order to charge the dock, which basically acts as a power bank, just stick this USB-C cable into this side and get a brick or something else to stick the USB-A into the other side. Now with the dock itself, it does come with a little bit more of a price. I think it's around $10 to $20 for the PowerPod version 2. Now this PowerPod is not adaptable with the other GAN iCarry devices, which means if you have a GAN iCarry or a PowerPod version 1, you can't use your GAN 12 UI with it. So in order to distinguish it, GAN has put a transparent lid on this one so that it looks a little bit different. When it comes to adjustment, we have the GMS system, which has the 3 little knobs that you can turn in any direction. And of course, if you want a little bit more variety, you can also use the alternative triangle rods here to get 3 more options. When it comes to GES, we have the system in which everything is already included in the core itself. So all you need to do is take that blue tool, stick it in there, and turn it around until you get to the settings that you like. Personally, I think these settings are really great out of the box, so I won't be changing them today. I'll just finish off with a little bit more of a talk about the cube itself. It's a super fast cube, and it genuinely feels so much like my GAN 13 that I could probably use these interchangeably in competition, though this one is of course not allowed in competitions. It feels super nice, super smooth, and super fast. And I feel like it's already been set up to some degree, probably factory setup, and it feels really nice. With that, if you have any questions about this cube or any of the things that came along with it, make sure to let me know down below in the comment section. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!